all of us gathered here should never forget the famous admonition of the iconic Jamaican reggae star Peter Tosh, when he said, and I quote, "Don't care where you come from. As long as you're a black man, you're an African."
President of the Republic of Ghana.
Small, intellectually, politically, and economically insignificant Africa. But is that really true? Now, here are the facts. Africa has a total area space larger than all of Europe, China, and the United States of America combined. Yes, it is 3 times the area of China, 3 times the area of Europe, 3 times the area of United States of America, meaning you can transplant China, Europe, and United States, and several other countries on the Africa continent, and they will fit neatly. Africa is 30.5 million square kilometers and a youthful population of 1.3 billion inhabitants. China is 9.6 million square kilometers and 1.4 billion inhabitants. India has a total space of 3.3 million square kilometers and 1.4 billion inhabitants. Now, yet, Africa is projected as overpopulated, and pressure mounts on Africans and their leaders to depopulate. Why? Why? Now, please note, Africa is home to 60% of the world's arable land, 90% of raw material reserve, 40% of gold reserve, 33% of diamond reserve, 95% of platinum reserve, and holds the largest bauxite reserves in the world. Of course, in addition to manganese, woods, uranium, crude oil, and others. Yet, the continent is touted as the poverty capital of the world and ripe for depopulation. The question is, why? Well, President Jacques Chirac of France provides an illuminating insight. He said, "We bled Africa for 4.5 centuries. We looted their raw materials, then we told lies that the Africans are good for nothing. In the name of religion, we destroyed their culture. And after being made rich at their expense, we now steal their brains through miseducation and propaganda to prevent them from enacting black retribution against us," unquote. Well, put simply, for over 4 centuries, Africa is not in control of its resources. Look, a 2016 study of Africa by the NGO called War on Want reveals that 101 companies, mostly British, control $305 billion worth of platinum, $276 billion worth of oil, and $216 billion worth of coal at 2016 market prices. Yes, they own mines or mineral licenses in 37 African countries and control vast swaths of Africa's land, 4 times the size of the United Kingdom. Now look, Africa subsidizes the rest of the world by $32 billion annually. A 2017 report by Global Justice Now and other groups estimates that $161.6 billion enter into Africa, while $202.9 billion leave Africa almost every year. For example, in 2017, Africa received a total of $19.7 billion in aid, but paid back $18 billion in debt repayments.
And this is a chart that I think says in another way what he so profoundly provided us today. This chart to me represents beautiful, educated, moneyed black people all over America. It could represent black organizations, it could represent black churches, it could represent black social and civic organizations. And what you will notice about these beautiful black people all over America is that everybody is doing their own thing, caught up in a Eurocentric value of rugged individualism, having forgotten that it takes a village to raise a child. There is no power here, brothers and sisters. There is no power here. Power is most effective concentrated. You can take a 55-gallon drum of water, spill it over, it will disperse, find its own level, and eventually evaporate. You can take that same 55-gallon drum of water, put it under pressure, put a lid on it, put a hose in it, put a nozzle on the end of that hose, and it can cut concrete. There is no power with us being disconnected. See, there's nothing wrong with dispersion. I live in Cleveland, you live in Atlanta. We have folk in the Caribbean, we have folk in Africa. That's dispersion. That's okay, but we do not have to be disconnected. We are a disconnected people. We are powerless in disconnection. This is where all the power is. You see? This is where all the power is.
Hello and welcome back. In this original Black Excellence presentation, we will highlight 11 cities on track to pay reparations to Black Americans.
Welcome to blackexcellence.com, the site where we share Black excellence, opulence, and affluence. Our mission is to inspire you as we enlighten you.
Reparations for Black Americans have been debated since the end of slavery, but the only people compensated were slave owners. The federal government reneged on a promise to provide freed slaves with 40 acres and a mule, and Congress has introduced a series of reparation bills that simply went nowhere. But the tide may be changing. Although the pace for approving reparations can be described as woefully lethargic, there are some reparation initiatives that are now starting to gain some meaningful momentum after years of contemplation. There are hundreds of communities across America who are now bringing the discussion before their city councils, and there are even a handful that have voted for and approved commissions to perform studies and engage the community. These commissions have not only drafted proposals on how to fund these potential reparation programs, but they have also presented recommendations on how to implement. In the midst of these efforts, a group of mayors have come together under a coalition named MORE, which is an acronym for Mayors Organized for Reparations and Equity. We salute these mayors, their city councils, and their communities for taking the bold step to first apologize and then take corrective action to help bolster Black home ownership, improve the infrastructure of predominantly Black neighborhoods, and offer education and employment opportunities. In this original Black Excellence presentation, we want to highlight the 11 cities on acting now to distribute reparations to Black Americans. So without further ado, let's get started. Number 1. Evanston, Illinois. In March of 2021, the City Council in the Chicago suburb of Evanston became the first U.S. city to make reparations available to its Black residents for past discrimination and the lingering effects of slavery. The effort is to directly acknowledge and address the historical harm done to Evanston residents through discriminatory housing policies, unfair city ordinances and practices, and inaction by the city. After a 2-year study, the City Council voted 8-1 to begin making good on its pledge to distribute $10 million over the next 10 years with the distribution of $400,000 to eligible Black households. Each qualifying household would receive $25,000 for home repairs or down payments on property. The money will not be given in cash, but paid directly toward a mortgage balance, down payment on a home purchase, property taxes, or home improvement contractor. The program is being funded through donations and revenue from a 3% tax on the sale of recreational marijuana. Qualifying residents must either have lived in or been a direct descendant of a Black person who lived in Evanston between 1919 to 1969, have identified as Black on an official document, and must be at least 70 years old. Number 2. Asheville, North Carolina. The city of Asheville has committed $2.1 million toward funding reparations, an initiative it began in the summer of 2020 when it joined a number of other U.S. cities which have voted to address their histories of racism and discrimination. The Asheville City Council approved a budget amendment in June 2021 to pull the money from city land purchased in the 1970s as part of the city's urban renewal programs that ripped apart Black communities. In passing its historic reparations, Asheville is apologizing for the city's role in slavery, discrimination, and denial of liberties for Black residents. This is a bold step in the right direction and will hopefully result in the city directly addressing the creation of generational wealth, economic mobility, and employment opportunity in the Black community. The City Council is still working to determine how the reparations will be implemented. It previously said the reparations would not include direct payments, but would mandate investments in areas where Black residents face disparities. While the amount is almost double what was allocated in earlier presentations, some community members argue that $2.1 million isn't enough and that the money should go towards helping Black residents become new homeowners. Number 3. Durham, North Carolina. Durham is showing what providing reparations for slavery could look like by actually trying to do it. The city's budget for the 2022 fiscal year includes $6 million that will go toward green and equitable infrastructure in historically Black neighborhoods. And it has made a commitment to the future with a promise to allocate money to the reparations fund every year going forward. The movement gained traction in 2018 when the Durham City Council passed a resolution calling for reparations to descendants of enslaved people, forming a racial equity task force. The task force submitted a 60-page report to the City Council to invest in things like home ownership and healthcare in areas where Black residents face disparities. In the same year, the City Council voted to invest in things like local reparations program as part of the city's anti-racism work. Leaders say that the budget approved for Durham will fund community safety, affordable housing, green and equitable infrastructure projects, as well as COVID-19 recovery. There was also a property tax increase in Durham of 2 cents, with 25% of the tax hike going towards the green infrastructure portion of the reparation fund.
Cooling on a couch, watching TV, go up, feeling nothing but lazy, feeling to somebody, nothing else to do, might as well go to the board and drop something brand new, feeling on the dice, throwing shit down, making me hard to the sound, about to stop. Hungry that I'm up for the plug now, cause I found out you liking it. Don't you want it back? Don't you want it back? Don't you want it?
Prime Minister, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I'm very honored to join the many other dignitaries who have planted trees here in the National Botanical Gardens. This is a most fitting way to conclude our visit, which has been so memorable and meaningful already. Even though the National Botanical Garden was opened quite recently, it looks like it has been here forever. It is a real tribute to Barbados's commitment to preserving the quality of life for citizens. Prime Minister, allow me to take this moment as we conclude the official visit to thank you very much once again, most sincerely, for the day we have spent together with your people and a team of leaders, and the prospect of even greater cooperation to come. I thank you so very much.
A state visit years in the making. As Rwandan President Paul Kagame stepped off his plane on Wednesday afternoon, it set into motion what is anticipated to be the ultimate show of pomp, pageantry, and politics. It is said this visit serves to deepen bilateral ties between the Republic of Rwanda and Jamaica. While it's unclear what this means for the country, part of Kagame's three-day visit includes a presidential address in Parliament on Thursday, where the specifics of this arrangement could be addressed. Several government ministers and members of the opposition were present to welcome the president, including Prime Minister Andrew Holness, Opposition Leader Mark Golding, and Governor General Sir Patrick Allen. Following his arrival, Kagame laid flowers at the shrine of national hero Marcus Garvey. Foreign Affairs Minister Queen Nanny was also present. Kigali, the capital of the Republic of Rwanda, is set to host the next Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting. Suspicions are brewing that with Kagame's visit to Jamaica, the government would try to woo him to support Foreign Affairs Minister Kamina Johnson-Smith in her candidacy for Secretary General for CARICOM. However, Prime Minister Andrew Holness assures neutrality. I'm Janelle Powell for CBM Live.
It feels tremendously good to be back in Belize. Wonderful, but the reason why we're here in Belize this time is much different from the last time we were here in Belize. This time it's about supporting the next Prime Minister of Belize, making sure that the masses know that there's a movement that they need to get behind because it involves all Belizeans for change. That's the mission this time.
No, I know, as a Rasta, it's not a normal thing to support a politician.
Well, you see, my father, King Selassie, was the greatest statesman, you know. And if we sit on the sideline and let people who are less than us in mentally continue doing what they're doing in our region, what world are we going to have for our children? So we got to get up off our asses and get active like the brother is doing inside the region, not only in Belize, but everywhere, and be the change that we want to see.
Now, how does it feel to walk down these streets that you've never walked before, and everybody say your name, they know you, they recognize you, and they make a connection?
Man is a black man, you know. I don't distinguish between earth and places. Man is a black man, yeah, and I'm in a black country right now with my people. I'm in multiplicity of nationalities here, but nevertheless, I don't feel like I should be running around and hiding from the people. I want to walk the streets, tear off my head off a can for myself, Wallace Debral. You know what I mean? And reason with the people, hear what's going on in their minds, see if they are open to what's coming, the new wave. And just hold a vibe. It doesn't matter where we are, as long as I'm a black man, I'm African, and once I see my people, I feel at home. We're coming to Belize to make something exciting happen. Stay the course, and you shall see.
suddenly you left me alone by myself.
We can make each other great, and we can walk to the path of greatness. Women, rise up in your power. Representation matters. We need to sit at tables where decisions are made. We need to do things that are bigger than us. We need to rise up and be the beacon of hope that this nation, this continent is looking up to. We are the solution.
We are brave, we are fearless, we are courageous, we are survivors, we are conquerors, we are givers, and we are warriors!
You know what? Can somebody get me a dress? Because I want to be a woman so badly now. Welcome to the YouTube channel. It's your favorite village boy, Mr. Ghana, baby, right here in the smiling coast of Africa. This is why I'm smiling a lot today. A big shout out to the guy who composed the Wadamaya song. From Cape Town to Cairo. And let me tell you, one of the lyrics that I love so much is celebrating every African, what am I,
Celebrating every African, through Africa.
I love and I appreciate every African that is doing great stuff to change the narrative of Africa. And the people that I've always wanted to celebrate is the women of Africa. I wish I could get time to meet every woman in Africa that is doing something incredible to put them out there. This is why I'm bringing a new episode called Women of Africa, and also the strength of an African woman. What comes into your mind when you hear the name African woman?
Strength.
Strength.
Yes, determination, endurance, beauty, ambition.
From today onwards, you know what I want you to do?
What?
I want you to travel Africa and celebrate African women on my behalf.
I will do that.
You know what? Not just entrepreneurs, but women that are doing incredible stuff that the world is not talking about them.
Okay.
I feel like African women need to be worshipped. I feel like African women need to be praised. I feel like African women, I don't know what to say, because my mother is one of them, and you are one of them. Go check out her YouTube channel, subscribe to it. From tomorrow onwards, you will see Miss Trudy celebrating African women that are doing great stuff on the continent. Thank you. Where am I today? I am at Treasure Women Warriors. This is a young woman who lived in the United States for 30 good years and decided to move back to the continent and start a change. What change is she doing? See, where I am right now is a rural area. Listen, I think this is the most beautiful house I'm seeing so far. She was not born in the rural area. She was born in the city, worked in the city, went to America, and she felt like the women living in such part of the country needs to be empowered. Listen, do me a favor, like the video. I'm so excited, man. Share so that so many people can have a piece of this story. We need to inspire more people to get involved. Listen, Africa's problem needs to be solved by Africans. And if she is solving the biggest problem on the continent, then I guess she needs a round of applause. Come with me as we go talk to this young and amazing woman right here in the headquarters of Treasure Women Warriors in the Gambia. Thank you.
We're here to do the work, so let's do this.
I know she's already expecting me, but let me tell you something. This house in here feels so therapeutic. I feel like this is the Garden of Eden, man, because I'm walking in between neem trees and I can see my favorite plant in here. I see cassava. I'm also seeing plantain, which means I can still enjoy my fufu in the Gambia. Oh my goodness, can you guys hear the chirping birds? Oh wow, I'd love to live here. Jeez, Oh my God!
My name is Kumba Dafika, President of the Treasure Women Warrior, a woman-led organization uplifting women to financial freedom to impact their lives, their families, and their communities.
I don't even want to talk to you right now, but I just want to tell you something. You are amazing.
I'm a warrior.
Oh, okay, then I'll say that you are an amazing warrior.
That's right.
Cooling on a couch, watching TV. Go up, feeling nothing but lazy. Feeling to some nothing else to do. Might as well go to the board and drop something brand new. Feeling on the dice, throwing shit down. Making me out to the sound. About to stop. Hungry, then I'm up for the plug now. Cause I found out you liking this. Don't you want it back? Don't you want it back? Don't you want it?
Welcome again, brothers and sisters and cousins of the other races who support our struggle for economic equality with the other races. This is video number 27, and it's the second part of the video which the focus title was that the main problem, number one problem facing Black people is poverty and not global warming. The poverty, global warming is a real problem, but poverty is the main problem facing the African race. Poverty is the main cause of the problems, our main problems, major problems in Africa and in the diaspora. For example, blue-collar crime. Blue-collar crime in countries where Black people are the majority, in places where communities where Black people are the majority, and even places where we are the minority. Blue-collar crime, especially Black-on-Black crime, is one of the main problems, if not certainly one of the main problems that we face. And the blue-collar crime is, while that is the main thing we are involved in, we tend to be the small criminals, little criminals, because the big criminals who do the white-collar crime, they use the little blue-collar criminals and to do their dirty work, whether it's robbing people and selling the things to them, or it is doing drugs and pushing drugs, and being part of political gangs that terrorize the Black community and get them to vote or not to vote for whoever the white-collar criminals want to stay in power. So that is, crime is just one of the direct problems that affect us because of poverty. In terms of, and I'm just being brief, just kind of highlighting and mentioning main points. In terms of the solution or the reduction of the problem, it is greater self-reliance, not self-sufficiency, because we can't be self-sufficient. This is a global community, but to increase our self-reliance and to reduce our dependency on the other races for our bread and butter, and ownership of our own businesses is the major step. Economic equality with the other races, economic liberation, economic independence is the main strategy, the main means of reducing our dependence on the other races for our bread and butter. And again, I should say thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe and like and comment, because the growth of the channel depend on your support.
Suddenly, you left me alone.